Welcome to the Fantasy Throwdown Podcast. The Fantasy Throwdown Podcast. Bringing you the latest from the world of daily fantasy sports and gambling, so you can stop Googling how to join a squid game to cover all those parlays you thought were such a sure thing. Now, sit back and listen to one of the sharpest minds in the game. Here's your host, Dwayne Callender.
Hello and welcome, folks. We have another episode on tap. We've got plenty to talk about, a lot to talk about. And frankly, not nearly enough time to talk about it because we've had Washington commit one of the worst brand changes ever. I've got my New York Football Giants embroiled in a lawsuit that they could have easily avoided, but they were too lazy. And of course, the lawsuit that everyone's talking about with Brian Flores. I can go into this stuff, but frankly, it's going to take more time than I have allotted, so I'm not going to be able to get to it right now. But I got plenty of thoughts to go into. Plus, there's NBA stuff to talk about as well, because, woo, baby, we got some storylines heading into the trade deadline. But without much further ado, let's get this out of the way, because we got this game coming up for the true D-gents that have been listening to the show. We have the Pro Bowl, and we'll do the DFS stuff on the Pro Bowl, and shockingly, we don't even have the dual slate. This is the first time I can remember no fantasy site is doing the 2-game slate for the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl, which was always a random random event, because you couldn't tell who's truly gonna get an edge. But no, we do not have the dual slate option where we combine both games. It's just showdown only for both the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl. And so many people would F up the Pro Bowl and give you such an edge into the Super Bowl because they would play the Pro Bowl quarterbacks, not realizing the Pro Bowl quarterbacks were only going to play a quarter or two. It would happen every year. It was such an edge for 4 or 5 years that I am sad to see the Pro Bowl split up from the Super Bowl. I'll be perfectly honest with you, folks. I am very sad. But I'm going to get right to it. The thing that people F up the most, not understanding the rules of the Pro Bowl, is there's no defense. First of all, because you can't blitz. No one wants to hit. And second of all, you have to have a tight end on every play. The tight end has to be on the field for every play. So tight ends are paramount. But we got two big edges that we know here. Both Travis Kelce and George Kittle played last week in losing efforts, are both incredibly banged up. Why on earth would Travis Kelce and George Kittle play more than 20% of snaps? If that. Maybe they could try to make them go, and they'll just go slowly. Sure. But why are they going to trudge them out there when they're already banged up, when you've got a fresh Kyle Pitts, who was on a terrible Atlanta team that did nothing all year, and Mark Andrews of the Ravens, who didn't play at all, who didn't make the postseason. To me, the two most lock button plays of the entire slate would be Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews. It makes no sense why, in a position that you know has to be on the field the entirety of the game, and you already know the two other guys who are their subs are banged up, why you would not expect Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews to play 80% of snaps. Why would you have a banged up Kittle and Kelce? The Pro Bowl is supposed to be for fun. If you know guys are banged up, why would you even play them? It doesn't make any sense. It's the same rule I have for Debo and Tyreek Hill. Debo is banged up. You saw he had to exit the NFC championship game last week. Tyreek has been banged up all playoffs. Why on earth would you have them? It doesn't make any sense. All these receivers are going to be splitting time anyway. There's a very real chance we don't even see Debo Samuel on the field today. A very real chance. So, again, Pro Bowl. Think about it. Tight ends, paramount. You already know two of them are going to play way less than the other two. And they're guaranteed the most snaps out of anybody else in the game. You're going to have special teams players playing in the game. And, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. I mean, you got to have like Devin Duvernay, Matthew Slater, I think Jakeem Grant in the game. All those guys are going to be, they're special teamers, but they made the Pro Bowl and they're going to be seeing snaps at wideout. I can't tell you which wide receiver is going to pop off or which QB is going to throw the most touchdown passes. What I can tell you is running backs are absolutely useless in the Pro Bowl. Completely useless. Even Kamara. Useless. You can't, I don't know what else to say. You should not be playing most of these players. I can even justify playing Kelce because Patrick Mahomes is playing in this game. Again, you will see Patrick Mahomes for a quarter. I can justify playing Kelce with Patrick Mahomes for the quarter that they play together. They'll do some commiseration over losing in epic fashion to the Bengals, and justifying a lineup that way, and you see what pans out. I can build a lineup that way because the salary doesn't matter. But if you lock in, three tight ends with Mahomes, it's not the worst idea in the world. But I'm just telling you, like, between Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews, those guys should be crushing today. It's not even close. It's not even close as to how these builds should be going. So, to be perfectly honest, I'm trying to be as straightforward as I can with the build, because to me there's nothing to actually not much else to say here. It's just it's pretty clear cut in my opinion. I think you can even forego the QBs entirely in a build. Like, you don't even have to play a quarterback, in my opinion, because you'll see wide receivers come out, and you can play a Justin Jefferson and still have a way to actually fit in somebody else. So again, salary doesn't matter. It's just it's literally just play the dudes you feel comfortable playing, but you don't even need to go crazy over this. It's not even a discussion, to be honest. I just think that so many people are just going to look at running backs that they can play and then forget about the tight end rules, because I've seen it happen so many times with folks in Pro Bowl matchups that, again, we're going to get a ton of variance. There's no question about it. But this is one of the most straightforward slates. You deal with the variance, and you just gotta live with it. It's not anything of particular note. It's just, it is what it is. I don't think you need to even worry about the builds. Like this one basically writes itself. It really does. You play your tight ends. You can forego quarterbacks. You don't actually have to play quarterback. And you got to live with what you get, but it's not exactly rocket science in terms of going about the breakdown, because to me, again, when you factor in everything, it's it's basically just a straightforward build in terms of. So again, if I wasn't clear, just to harp on the main points: defense utterly irrelevant. Just remove him from your player pool. I'm not entirely sold on Debo playing, so I'm just gonna. If Debo plays and crushes me, so be it. But I would not be remotely surprised. I may just fade Debo entirely, to be perfectly honest, and put myself out of my misery, because I don't even think it's worth the risk, to be honest, of just squandering. Because Debo's going to be one of the highest owned guys, and I just think he's not playing. I think he will play limited snaps, if anything. That's my personal opinion. I think Debo plays limited snaps. And I think Kittle plays less. So I think, to me, I would actually, you know what? I don't even need to fade. I could just cap my exposure regardless, but and just over project on Andrews and Pitts based on the fact that they're going to be playing more minutes than basically anybody else, more snaps than anybody else in this game. So I'm going to be more aggressive with my projections on Pitts and on Pitts and Andrews, and just work from there. Because to me, I just don't see where I don't see where it's actually going to be a case where you're going to find yourself regretting playing the tight ends over other positional players. I just don't see it. So if I overproject the Andrews and Pitts, I think that basically negates a lot of what you're going to see with the Debo ownership anyway. And, you know, I still think you're probably going to see some ownership and productivity from other guys like Deontay Johnson or Stephon Diggs. I think have just as much right to being relevant in this game as opposed to as opposed to what you would see with Tyreek or Tyreek or just. So it's like I like Justin Jefferson more than the other guys, just to be clear. But it's not as though it's a lock that Justin Jefferson smashes, because again, Justin Jefferson's going to play early. He's not going to play late, and when this game opens up later on, it's probably going to be the Deontay Johnsons of the world that take more advantage. So I still think Deontay Johnson probably has a higher ceiling than most players. I don't know if it's going to pan out, but I like him at least to be able to be relevant later on. Not that anyone's. Oh, and that's the other thing. If you think I'm watching this Pro Bowl, I'm not going to watch. So don't message me during the Pro Bowl, because I won't be watching the game. It's completely useless. This is purely a degenerate play only, in my opinion, guys. So just to be clear how this is going to go down. I just want to be very clear about my thoughts on on the Pro Bowl and in this contest selection. So, yeah, this is pretty straightforward, guys. So, focus on the tight ends. We're not going to play too many guys that were playing last week. I just don't think it's worth it. So, we'll over project. And on DraftKings, because you can, and it's true on FanDuel too. You can play the kickers, which I don't think is the craziest thing in the world, because you still get 3 points from the kickers. I'm probably just going to limit it to one kicker instead of doing two kickers. So, it is what it is. Wouldn't go crazy over it, but it's not the worst idea in the world to play kickers in the Pro Bowl. It's just don't go crazy over it either. So, yeah, that's basically it, guys. So, we're gonna wrap this up. Like I said, short and sweet. We'll get into the Flores stuff and the Washington football team, and the lawsuit. 2 lawsuits actually, and we still got NBA stuff to talk about, but that's for a later time. I'm getting out of here. Best of luck, folks, and until next time, take it easy.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Throwdown Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all other major outlets.